Hi everyone, my name is Jan,
My name is Loyal.
and we work in the Internet Real-Time Laboratory at Columbia University. We'll be presenting a project about scalable, reliable, and resilient Internet of Things systems for smart cities. Specifically, we are concerned about Internet of Things systems that go from toy to large commercial scale deployments encompassing hundreds of heterogeneous devices in buildings and industrial settings. In such systems, it is increasingly difficult to design reliable and scalable Internet of Things applications, mainly because we do not have the right network abstractions. Some of the fundamental challenges that we have been trying to address are identification and naming in Internet of Things systems, especially when devices may come and go.
And we propose to utilize the standard metadata format and store the metadata to federated and distributed IoT directories. And the general concern for metadata management are where to store, how to discover it, the geo-distributed devices, and using different queries or in long-lived software.
And we're also working on enabling rapid prototyping and testing, specifically when the target Internet of Things devices are not yet available, or if the application developer simply doesn't have access to the production Internet of Things system.
So we have this metadata directory architecture. A directory is essentially a database to store and publish metadata, and it acts like an intermediate between the devices and the internet. It gathers the metadata from the local network through the discovery agent, and the metadata management needs to get rid of the application-specific or vendor-specific modules. So taking the advantages of the edge computing, it can be favorably deployed on an edge computation node.
For naming and identification of IoT devices, we're developing a naming architecture that would combine the device type and its location. For example, we would like to be able to identify IoT devices with names like light switch in the living room or kitchen thermometer. So for this, we are building a geospatial naming database that would contain polygons that represent rooms, buildings, and floors inside a building. And that database will merge data from publicly available sources such as OpenStreetMap or Google Maps, and also from private information sources such as building information models or building floor plans. Our goal is eventually to provide an API that would make it possible to translate a geographic name to a set of Internet of Things devices that are somewhat related to that name. For example, if you specify a room name, the API will return a set of devices that happen to be located in that room.
So we build the initial test bed for the metadata directory. It consists of a Raspberry Pi and our laptop. The Raspberry Pi acts like a client to generate some mocked metadata and to query to the server. And the directory server stores metadata, and the metadata we generate follows the standard W3C format, and we propose the interfaces to register and query the metadata by device ID, device type, and the location. Through the testbed, we can further analyze some query performance.
Once we have built a geospatial naming database, we are also considering using that for access control. Specifically, we want to be able to implement access control policies that are very common in the physical world, such as give write access to an IoT devices to clients that are located in the same room and give read-only access to everybody else. For this, we are designing an access control protocol where the client wishing to access an IoT device would submit a geospatial object, and the device that controls access would then check whether or not the client is in some spatial relationship to the device. Specifically, we're trying to implement a policy where different privileges or different levels of access are given to IoT devices within the same room as the client.
And in the future, we will improve our prototype and the naming resolver, and we will provide the real-time metadata update. And we will also address the listed access control challenges.
For IoT device names and identifiers, we are trying to design names that are somewhat more human-friendly and intuitive for people to use, because we specifically want those to be usable by end users. And we are also building a prototype of the access control system. So far, we have a very rudimentary version of that.
All right, thanks for watching, and feel free to email us if you have any questions.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.